Jones.
That's your dedication,
Hello, Miss
sir.
JB Jones.
Well, hello.
Great. So we want to. I'm not even. No one listens to me. That's fine. Last four digits 1899. Caller, you on with Connect the City. May we have your name?
Hey, how you doing? It's Melvin.
Hey, good
Hey,
evening,
Melvin.
Melvin.
Oh,
How are you?
I'm doing well. How you ladies doing?
You're doing great.
Wonderful.
Thanks for calling in.
We we are waiting for Rashad Mills. He is also at an event. Can't wait for him to call in. He's a real big. He's speaking somewhere this evening.
Okay.
So look, guys. Let's just jump right in. We're going to jump right in. Everybody hates Tyrese, so we're going to talk about Tyrese Gibson, R&B sensation. He has been in a little mess, JV. A little mess.
Only human.
He's only human. I put something up on Facebook earlier today, and I was wondering if people thought that he was mentally ill or he was just going through something. If you're listening, Tyrese, because we got a lot of callers on here that don't want to say anything, baby, I'm on your side. I didn't laugh at the memes. I didn't think it was funny. I got your back. I don't think you're crazy at all. I just think you're going through something, and that's okay.
And that's okay.
It's okay. Guys, I just want to, if you don't know what was going on with Tyrese, let me just tell you a little bit what happened real quick, and then we'll go into our callers, and we're going to talk about men and mental illness. So Tyrese, the R&B sensation, he was accused of child abuse. And this type of child abuse was, I guess, spanking his daughter between 12 and 10 times where she couldn't sit on her butt. I've gotten that. But okay, I digress.
Those days over.
Was that mental abuse? I don't know. And she was unable to sit. Before his court date, he hired a plane to go over her school. And he said, no matter what, Daddy loves you, Shayla. And it was a big thing, and she was reportedly mortified, hiding in the principal's office. But what they're saying is that his wife, Norma Gibson, ex-wife, said that it was a reflection of, what lawyer says, a reflection of his erratic state of mind, and it violates the restraining order that they had. Let's jump right into our callers, because there's so much, because he just said so much. I got 3 pages full of stuff that he said. Let's start with you, Christopher Massey. What do you feel? Do you feel like he's crazy, or do you feel like he was going through something, based on your professional opinion?
I don't feel like he's crazy. I do feel like he was going through something. I feel like, any father would definitely have that feeling that their daughter was just taken away from him. Now, of course, we don't know all the circumstances, and I did read something that he posted, said that he was taking an antidepressant.
Yes.
So that could have also kind of helped with that video, as as we all saw him crying.
He cried and twerking. He was twerking. He was twerking too.
Yeah, that's his daughter. But I really don't. As I'm looking at him and as I'm looking, he's just pleading for his daughter. I mean, any man would want to fight if it was taken away in that case. So I don't think he's crazy in a sense.
Right. Great.
Now, because of this, it may have triggered some depression not being able to. So that could be why he was taking the antidepressant. So.
Right. And so, Mr. Browning, what do you think? Do you think he's crazy, or it was just his daughter? What are your thoughts?
Once again, for me, I believe this is just the world we live in. Now that we have social media and we see some people acting up. But I think that a lot of men, long before social media, who were going through these emotions, they were just alone in their rooms. So I don't think that this is a unique situation. I just think we live in a world today where private tears or private anger or private moments of anguish or mental health was kept in the dark, now was coming to light. So it's almost a good thing that, while it's sad for him and his family, is allowing us to have these conversations.
Exactly.
For so long, there were brothers who were alone, unable to speak to anyone, and then sometimes that anger and sometimes that frustration manifested itself in some type of violence or some type of acting out that hurt the community. So while we hate to see anybody tragedy play out on a public scene, this thing is happening every day in places where no one cares about
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. Melvin, we'll go to you for a brief answer on, do you think that he's crazy, mental illness, or do you think he just misses his daughter?
Well, I think he just misses his daughter. I don't like to use the word crazy because it sounds so dismissive of, of an individual. And I think that, especially in the black community, like the gentleman just said, a lot of, we don't get the mental health that we need like they do in the white community. But then again, it could just be a bad day that he's having, or a bad situation that he's going through, and he's a public person. And we're just seeing it personified with social media and everything else, so everybody's rushing to judgment. But he's just like the everyday guy that's down at the courthouse in Upper Marlboro.
No.
I mean,
Right. Yeah, I've never been to the courthouse in Upper Marlboro. I don't know what you mean.
right. So that's just what it is.
Love me. I love you, Melvin. You don't know me, but I'm telling you, I really love you. Okay. I really do. So briefly, I introduced and gave you the title for Christopher Massey, but Mr. Massey, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and groups you support and the things that you're doing right now?
Sure. So, again, my name is Christopher Massey. I started my own organization called I Am Strength, and basically it actually is two parts now. I started to hold mental health support groups in churches, especially like we said in the black community, in the black church. We're all told to just pray about it, and prayer is going to fix everything. Well, the bottom line is, even though prayer helps, there are a lot of people that just won't address the mental issues that they're out there. So, and I kind of expanded outside the church, so I do motivational speaking. I just did an event out in Atlanta where I just kind of shared my own story about, the depression and things that I've gone through. But my organization and what I do is we bring awareness to it. We try to help people cope with it and connect. There's so many people in the black community that some don't know where to go. They don't know.
929-477-3886. 929-477-3886.
With organizations to say, hey, you can go here to get the help that you need. So just bringing more awareness to this issue is serious. I just want to share something really quickly. I was sharing with the people in Atlanta that the second leading cause of death among age group 10 to 14 is suicide. So we have young children killing themselves, thinking that there's no hope, there's no solution. And when we were 10 and 14, we didn't have that issue. But times are so different. They're exposed to so much more. And,
Yes, sir.
Yes, they are.
And people are just turning eyes to, like, they're screaming and they're crying out. And we're just turning our eyes. I heard somebody say, well, what does a 10 or 14-year-old have? What kind of issues will they have? Do they have? I'm like, you don't know what they're facing every single day.
Exactly.
Doing some work out here in Maryland, mentoring out here in Maryland. Met a homeless teenager, still trying to get through school. So basically, I just try to connect people and bring more awareness, especially in the black community.
We're so happy to have you, aren't we, JV? And I'm going to, we usually have a nice little format that we like to follow. So if you hold on with us, bear with us a little bit, I will discuss that part a little later in the show as far as the suicide. I'm ready for that one. We are ready for that one. Mr. Everett Browning Sr., sir, how are you?
I'm doing well. I'm blessed to join you guys today.
Excellent. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know I made a little speech about you. Tell us what you're doing.
So I'm Everett Browning. I'm retired. I'm military man. I'm the vice president for mentoring for the 100 Black Men of Prince George's County. Right now, currently, I'm a candidate for state senate. And so, and one of my main focuses throughout my life is one, I'm not only working with young men to get them to understand how to deal with conflict. There's a lot of young individuals who have a lot of anger because they don't feel like they control their life, to teach them how to deal with conflict resolution, crisis management. But also, I have a lot of brothers and sisters, who came back from Iraq and Afghanistan with me, who are dealing with mental issues, readjusting. So from both sides of that stigma, whether it's a black issue or a toughness issue, to
We'll
make
talk
sure
about
people
Tyrese
can
first,
get
and then
help
we can get
without
to
the
these
stigma,
questions.
like the brother said earlier, of being crazy. Sometimes it's just a support group. Sometimes
Exactly.
it's just stress management, anger management. But the reality of being able to talk to someone you trust who is able to give you the skills to deal with everyday problems is very important. A lot of times, a lot of our problems play out on social media, they play out across our families. So to be able to have that confidentiality that we can heal in peace is very important. And that is, it's not a sign of weakness to ask for help. I think it's a huge thing we have to get through our community.
Well, great. Thank you so much, sir. I used Tyrese. I think we really wanted to use Tyrese as a kind of a guinea pig to open up. I never thought he was mentally ill. What about you, JP? I just never thought he was. But this is a nice gateway to talk about mental illness. Basically, all he said was he wanted to do his co-parent, nothing else. But he did, I think Mr. Massey said something earlier. He put out a great video and did a couple of interviews and said that he was prescribed Rexulti. And I've heard the commercials for that, actually. And it's typically used as an add-on for depression or schizophrenia to help deal with the high stress of ongoing his custody battle with his ex-wife, Norma Gibson. He said, contrary to the false reports and narrative, he does not have a mental illness. It was the meds that was suggested to deal with the trauma of losing his daughter. This way, everything just changed. And he wrote that in a post earlier. And from what he's saying, he never takes drugs or anything. So this Rexulti could have been something. I mean, doesn't it take time? I know you guys are professionals, so don't it take time for you to ask the questions and run blood work and things of that nature before you put someone on that type of medication? Mr. Massey, anybody?
This is Mr. Brownie, and I know right now, unfortunately, because of the financial benefits of the pharmaceutical corporations, that they're not going through the routines, either where kids or adults are doing their testing, they're just right away giving people medicine. So it's more beneficial financially for them just to give someone medicine than it is to find out, to treat them or to find out exactly what kind of help they need.
Right. That's just...
And I wanted to just jump in there real quick.
Yes, please.
Especially with somebody is
Which one?
High profile as Tyrese.
Is that
You
next?
know, those celebrities probably
That's
don't
two
even,
questions.
like the gentleman just said, that they probably
You want to
don't
ask
even,
both?
you know, go through the protocols of, okay, let's really diagnose this. If they just, you know, the stress of being celebrity is probably enough for them to just write a prescription for them and just say, here
Pick
you
one.
go. So I don't, you know, I think his doctor just gave him something to say, here you go, just take it. Unmuted.
I have to agree with that. I do know I've had friends and things of that nature as adults, and they do a series of questions, lots of questions, and you have to go get blood work to find out which which medicine works for you, which you're allergic to, and things of that nature. So now that I hear what you're saying, Mr. Massey, Mr. Browning, they probably just gave it to him and like, okay, and that was it because he's in Hollywood. That's not good because they don't know what he was allergic to. If he never takes drugs or medicine and things of that nature, maybe Rexulti is a high dosage and they didn't start him off with a low dosage. Huh? What do you think, JV?
I'm inclined to believe that sometimes if you've never had that medication, you just don't know. You don't know what your reaction to the medication may be. Mr. Everett, do you agree with that?
Yes, I mean, definitely. You know, when it comes to medication that alters your brain state, you never know how you're going to react. Especially, if, unfortunately, if you're mixing it with stress, maybe alcohol, or just your environment. So, yeah, you know what? We all need help, and sometimes medication is just a proper way to help someone get better. It has to be over time. It has to be monitored. It can't just be given to someone and allow them to be by themselves. When the medication kicks in, when the stress kicks in, we all react in different ways.
Well, just subject. I just don't hear anybody talking about this, JV. I really don't, and I'm honored that we have this platform to be able to speak about this, men and mental illness, because so much is going on.
Question, many mental illnesses affect both men and women. However, men may be less likely to talk about their feelings and seek help. Why is this, you think?
This is Melvin. Usually men don't talk about it, and we wind up probably the shame and the stigma that comes along with it. You always told when you're a man, you're supposed to be strong, don't cry, suck it up, yada, yada, yada. So if you don't go get that help that you need because it shows a sign, or you think that it shows a sign of weakness, or people may think that you're vulnerable in such a way, and then you wind up on some type of disability, living in a relative's basement, wearing a diaper and some 3-ring socks.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Because you're mentally gone.
Right.
And, it happens. And everybody has that member in their family that they say, oh, yeah, so-and-so is crazy. But, so-and-so may have just been in a bad situation and didn't get the help that they needed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay. Caller with the last 4 digits of 3331. You're on Connect the City. May I have your name, please?
How you doing? This is Dante Moore, the re-educator, blessing you with his presence once again.
Well, good evening.
Mr. Moore, how are you, sir?
Thanks for calling in, sir.
I'm doing all right. How's everybody, JB and Millie?
We are wonderful.
Wonderful. So have you been listening so far? You know what's going on with us tonight and Tyrese and the mental illness?
Definitely, I've been listening to the topic, and I just want to say that as a man that knows how many women out here use children as a weapon, I understand what Tyrese was feeling. Now, that being said, I wouldn't have handled it that way. I guess the way he handled it, putting it out there in public and with the crying and all of that stuff, that was something different. But as in terms of what he was feeling and what he was going through, any father that cares about their kids knows exactly what Tyrese was feeling. We just don't handle it in that type of situation. We're just not that emotional with it.
Right.
Excellent.
So, Mr. Browning, how do you feel about whether or not men seem to be less likely to talk about their feelings and seek help?
Hey, the truth is, men always machismo. We can't be showing a sign of weakness. Whether it's a man crying, whether it's a man admitting that his mind isn't right, we worry a lot about how we are looking in the eyes of women. I say this a lot. Someone told me historically, one of the greatest downfalls of relationship with black men and black women has been in this country, where it's been set up where black men were unable to protect or provide for black women, whether it was in the slavery times when black men were forced to sit there and watch things happen to black women and not do anything. And even up to Jim Crow, I remember my grandfather telling me stories about being down south with my grandmother and the kids and had to be spoken to in a certain way and not being able to respond. So for black men, we've been fighting to get back our place as a leader in our communities, in our homes. And anything that shows us weak, we rebel against, because the society has always pushed to make us look weak. So that's something that's hard. But another thing that happens is a lot of time mothers and girlfriends and sisters, they have to help us identify things and find a way to get us help. Sometimes in our family, like the brother says, we have someone in our family have problems. We just put them in grandma's back room, or we just try to have them away instead of getting them help and admitting. Sometimes I understand it's hard for us to admit that someone in our family needs help, because we know it's hard enough for a black man now to get a job, to move forward. So as soon as he gets that stigma, that's just another, chain around his neck holding him down. So a lot of times our family, while out of love trying to protect us from being identified as needing help, actually lets the things go on longer and don't give us the skills to learn to deal with our problems.
Right. That's really some powerful stuff. I kind of feel bad because, JB, I did not know. I didn't know that men had really kind of like feelings. My brothers never cried. And we didn't go to a lot of funerals, so they never cried. And when they got punished, they were hit. Ooh, can I say that? Oh, well, what they gonna do to me now, right? They were hit in the chest. Like the men were, well, I got beatings, but they got hit in the chest. And they sucked it up. They were like, no tears. Because when your grandmother, you better not cry. So you just, all that one tear may fall, but that's it. But I've never seen them cry until later on. Maybe at a funeral later on. Never really saw my father cry, but once. So, like, we don't know that they have feelings. I know if I'm crying and we go get some ice cream and talk to the girls, we talk it out and call it a day. And now I'm wondering, where do men go? What do men do? And so that hurt to me a little bit.
I have a quick question, and this is just something that just came to me. I think it took a lot of strength for him to expose himself like that.
Yes, JV.
I
Yes,
think,
ma'am.
You know, people want to look at him in the word I want to use, I probably shouldn't, but in more of a, that P word.
Okay.
When he's
yeah.
exposing
Oh, a
his
BAN
feelings or whatever.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But I think in order for this issue to really come to light and for people to really take it more seriously, what men go through and things of that nature, I think it took a lot for him because he didn't have to do that.
He did not. He
purposely showed the world
Yes, he did.
how men are affected by these type of things. And I think partly too, he's been holding it in probably for so long. And
Yes,
once
ma'am.
it came
Yes,
out,
ma'am.
it just came out. So I personally gave him a lot of kudos for that.
I applauded him. I felt so bad. And then they were making fun of it. I didn't think it was funny.
Yeah, so Mr. Massey, what do you think about that? Do you think maybe it was a plus for that to happen and that maybe now things can start to maybe change a little bit as far as that's concerned?
I think when you decided, like
move
you
over
just
with
said, this took a lot. I mean, it's hard to be vulnerable, especially in the judgmental world. And for somebody like Tyrese to, record that video and do that, it took a lot for him to do that. And I agree with you, like, people making fun of him, they, calling him a punk and all that. But I think as a society, I think it's easy for us to make fun of stuff like that because everyone is afraid to deal with their own issues that we all go through. Everybody goes through something mentally. Everybody has bad days. So my hope is that we can change the narrative of how how mental health looks and how this was a breakdown.
Yeah.
It could have been a breakdown all the time, but this was a true breakdown that
Like
we
you
got
said,
to
JV,
see
good point.
up front. And to answer the first question about why men don't, just like the other gentleman said, I mean, we're told to just hold that in.
Yeah.
Well, I always,
Suck it up.
when I go out and speak, I'm like, well, if you hold all of this emotion in, where does it go? It has to go somewhere.
Yes.
It can't just sit dormant. And if it
Good
sits
point.
dormant,
I didn't think
it's
about
going to
that.
lash out.
Yeah.
So that's why you have, I'm in Baltimore City. That's why we have, that's part of the reason why we have over 300 murders already, because you have a lot of young men who have held emotions in and they're angry. I'm not saying all of them are angry, but that's a natural reaction. That's why domestic violence is prevalent in the black community, because you got a man that's angry. He held emotions in it. He don't know how to respond to a woman in a proper way, so let me beat on her. So it's when you hold those emotions in,
Right.
and you don't tell your sons or whoever you're mentoring. I have a mentee, and I tell him, like, you got to learn how to communicate. Your first reaction can't be anger, so we have to build a system to try to help us correspond and respond in a better way than let me just hold it in, or telling our young men, hold everything in, be a man. Like, it's okay to be a man in certain situations,
Right.
but if something happens, we got to tell them. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel down. So
Yeah.
we just got to change that.
Yeah. Usually we break down the show into segments, and our favorite segment is the hashtag I can and the hashtag I can't episode. We're not going to do that tonight, but what I will say is I saw, oh my goodness, this just hurts my feelings because Dante said something about this earlier. I saw a news story where a black man was just killed. I can't remember what state. He was just killed because he had a custody issue with his daughter's mother. And I saw the gun pointed. He had pointed his own gun to his head and things of that nature. And he just was telling police, like, I'm so tired. My baby mother's this, that. I don't deserve to be here. I can't be with my kids and stuff like that. And then he turned the gun on the police and they shot him. And he was just distraught over the situation with his children, or I think a daughter or something like that. And now he's dead. Did anyone see that story?
And they have no fault.
And they have no father, and he killed it because he just couldn't take it. Mr. Browning, did you see that story, or Mr. Massey? Any one of you guys saw that?
No, I didn't see that story, but unfortunately, that story doesn't seem to be uncommon nowadays. You see more and more of it. Even we all heard stories like that with young fathers. Not knowing how to deal with the stress, the frustration, no type of conflict resolution skills or crisis management skills, and just exploding because they don't know how to express themselves, or they were never taught how to express themselves in a way to express that frustration, construction way to get to a solution. But I'm so sorry to hear that. I didn't hear about that particular story.
Oh,
but
my
unfortunately,
gosh.
that story seemed to be told time and time again.
Yeah, all you saw was the gun to his head, and he was just distraught, and I just felt so bad for him.
So sad.
It was just so sad. It hurt my feelings. I have children. You have children, and so it's just I didn't do any of that. JV, I know. Did you do any of that with the father? Any of that baby drama and all that? Didn't do any of that. I looked up a statistic which also hurts me, and this we'll talk to Mr. Massey about this. Suicide is extremely high, and the person that I was speaking with said, it's about 5 or 6 suicides a day. Well, the national average is for men only is 171 men a day commit suicide. Mr. Massey, can you speak with that? And then Mr. Browning, and then we'll get comments from the other callers. That's a very high number, and it's so scary and disturbing.
Very disturbing.
Yes, ma'am. So I had a mental health support group event a couple months back, and I had someone from the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention there. She was just sharing some information and said that we're almost at a million suicides per year. I think the number right now is around like 800,000. So that, unfortunately, that number is not like a shocker, but it's just sad. Like, I often think about that and say, these people that, it could be any of it. It could be.
I want to take a break, but I'm afraid the music won't do anything.
But what is going on so much that you feel like there's no hope? Like, because you got to feel hopeless in order to be in that position. It takes strength. I get irritated and mad when I say people that, I've heard people say, well, people that kill themselves are selfish. No, it takes strength to be able to do something like that. That's not an easy task to say, you know what, this is just so much. So, but again, I think, like all the other gentlemen are saying, like we have to find a solution. Because think about that, 171 men a day.
Wow.
If it's just one man, it's sad. If it's just one man, it's sad.
Yeah.
But 171, then there's an issue. And the bigger issue is, I spoke to someone at an event that I did recently in PG County. Mm-hmm. A lot of the stuff as it relates to, I'm sure the other gentleman can speak to this, a lot of the stuff isn't really being funded by the government, just the help to get it. Because most of their concern is more so on the drug. We're kind of like Tyrese just getting a drug. No, we need real funds thrown at trying to fix this mental health, and it can't all be drugs.
Yes, right.
Yes.
So we're going to take a quick break. Before the break, someone's. I know they're blowing up your. Facebook Live.
Yeah, I got a couple of comments.
One of the comments, and we're going to try to do this a little bit of this break thing again. If it doesn't work, we'll be right back. And she said, why? How can someone be in such a low place that they want to die? So we're going to take a quick break, and maybe you guys can talk about that, and we'll go on with the rest of the show. But She seems to be like, she's had storms, but she said, how could you just want to die if she loves life? So, guys, we'll be right back. You're on with Connect the City.